human interest stuff, lots of sports, lots of, things to generate revenue for the paper. But as far as reporting, they've gone in a different direction. They don't report nearly what they did 20, 30 years ago, and the quality of the reporting is suspect in many, many ways. Number 8 was improve relations with neighboring communities and jurisdictions. A lot of hostility with the other jurisdictions because what we did with the solid waste system, which was a screw job for our neighbors. People trying to annex in and get on city utilities, they are gouged. The city kind of strong arms its neighbors, and a lot of that now, people are going it alone. They don't want to do business with the city, and I don't blame them. There's been some progress there, but in the end, we need to be good community neighbors, and we need to treat our citizens and taxpayers right, and be honest and be very proactive in giving them good value for their government. But we need to be cooperative with our neighbors, and the city was abused their neighbors, the county and the other jurisdictions for many, many years. Very arrogant. Less so today, I think, because when people break away from this regional solid waste monopoly, it sends a pretty strong message to the city. Number 9 is the one that probably got the Spokesman Review fired up, was restitution for the River Park Square deception without cost or liability to the city. Now, the politicians who stood up to the paper and wouldn't advance the River Park Square screw job, their careers in politics pretty much ended fairly quickly. But those that buddied up with the Spokesman Review, they became judges, county commissioners, city council president. Their political careers were furthered. That's how it kind of works in Spokane. That's one of the reasons why the city of Spokane has a reputation of being the scam capital of America. Forbes.com talks to that a little bit about it. A lot of that is enhanced by the quality of our press. I had an argument with the Spokesman Review editorial board just last week, and we were talking about the quality of the press, and they're maintaining their professionals, and you really can't get anything off the internet and Facebook and that. And I submit to you that there are a lot of great sources on the internet, and I find them to be far more reliable than the Spokesman Review, which actually plays politics a lot. And we can get into those details in another detail that may be coming up. But for right now, I went straight at them about this River Park Square restitution, because they really put one over on the citizens of Spokane. And the same kind of stuff is happening today because our politicians will buddy up with the press, the power of the press there. And as long as they're trading free stuff to the subsidizing the wealthy, they tend to be the favored candidate. I don't know if that's best for the individual citizen ratepayer, and I don't mind drawing attention to it during my campaigns. And the last one was balance the city budget, and that's really was to reduce the city budget because our city budget is pretty big. They say we don't have enough money, but when you add the enterprise funds, it's like $1 billion. And we should be able to get better roads, better law enforcement, and some of the basic services from cities for municipal services for far cheaper than we've been paying. And that's an ongoing thing. You don't win friends cutting the city budget because a lot of people believe they're entitled to it. And there's a lot of political forces aligned to stop that, to stop the efficiency of government. They want to grow government. They don't want to reduce government and make sure we get better value out of limited government, which is how I feel. Now, the 2011 campaign was pretty much the continuation of the 2007, and then with more of an emphasis on police oversight because we were still fighting through the AutoZem, and we spent a lot of money defending what ultimately we found out to be the police lying to us. And we've made some progress there, but it never ends. Even today, in the current campaign, I got police oversight issues that continue. So I try to keep that in the spotlight because the faith in law enforcement and public safety is where we build everything else on. We get that first, people will want to invest here. We don't have that, it's a hard sell. Also in 2011, there was the Envision Spokane. I think it's back again. We've defeated it several times. I think Michael Cathcart led the charge in the original vote no for Envision Spokane was his campaign, but I got involved in that in a pretty big way too because it was you get to sue anybody for anything and then make the taxpayers pay for it. There's no balance there. And plus they were log rolling, adding a whole bunch of pretty much socialist Marxist concepts and trampling individual rights and freedoms on behalf of a growing a collective, which I'm against. It's back now in the fall. It's called the Workers' Rights or something of that nature, but it's essentially another version of Envision Spokane, where politicians and bureaucrats step into they step into the dealings of individuals. They dictate to other people what they will or will not do. And those kind of initiatives and those kind of onerous mandates on the public drives businesses and opportunities out of our community. Up to 2015 now, we continue with the police oversight because we always have to. Also, I've added to the earlier 15 dozen or so priorities. We have this sanctuary city thing, which is a problem. I've addressed it in earlier videos. Be sure to check those out if you haven't, because the sanctuary city status is profound. It affects us in a lot of ways. There's a lot of expense and a lot of local safety and security issues revolved around this legality of immigrant status, legal and illegal, whether enter into contracts. We have a problem with crime in this area. We have a problem with organized crime, probably revolved around auto thefts. The auto thefts where cars disappear, you get them a week later and they're trashed or whatever, is probably kids. But the cars that disappear, that don't show up a week or so later, that's probably organized crime. A lot of that is criminals, and a lot of those are illegals. And getting a handle on that is part of law enforcement. And ignoring that and saying, oh, we can't ask about someone's immigration status, whether they're a citizen or not, is pretty much fundamental to our security and safety. It is not racist. It's not pro or anti-immigration. It's very much pro-citizen and local safety to make sure that people come here and they're going to be living here. They should be citizens. The people who are not citizens should not have more rights than the people that live here and pay the taxes. That's wrong, and so this city sanctuary thing is going to continue coming up, and I've added it to one of my priorities of local government. And then the sick leave and the $15 minimum wage, it's the same thing. It's people who aren't involved in business, that don't understand the relation, want to mandate outcomes. It's the city favoring a buyer over a seller. They're very selective about who they favor. In this case, they like the buyer. In this case, they like the seller. Whether it's for services, whether it's for labor, whether it's for assets, it's the same thing. It's the improper role of government. Government needs a level playing field and let the market sort it all out. And you should be increasing the things that will attract businesses to invest here, meaning good value in their services, good value in their public safety. You don't need overt government lecturing the people at every step of the way. They resent that. That is why Spokane has stagnated for so many years. We get big deals for the wealthy, and we create these little isolated a hotel or a shopping mall. But all the little guys, they tend to have to migrate out into the valley or out into Idaho for a fair shake, and that's where they go, and you can see the business migratory patterns. So there's a quick update of Mike for Spokane over the last 8 years. The campaign continues. The election is just a couple of months. I stand for elected office, but Mike for Spokane isn't about my political career. It's what I think is best for the community, and I encourage you to think hard about what's best for your community, and I encourage you to, if you ever give the opportunity, to stand for elected office. And I encourage you not to take money and let your voice speak for you. You can draw attention to these matters that are important to you. You can shape the discussion. You don't have to take money and be beholden to special interests. Yeah, there's some humility in going out and not being able to win an election, but there's also some pride for not being bought and being able to stand for your community and speak your mind. I can walk in there and tell the Spokane Review that I don't like what they're doing. If I was worried about my personal career, I probably wouldn't do that. I can tell the unions and all these special interests about, hey, this is where I think it's good for you, this is where I think it's bad. Same thing with law enforcement. This is where I think we need more sunshine. This is where I think that law enforcement is not getting a fair treatment. I can say those openly because I'm not worried about my political career. So there's my 8-year Mike for Spokane update. And if you've been tuning in over the last 8 years on occasion, thank you for considering my campaign.